Good evening, everyone. It is exactly 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday evening. That shows you just how committed we are to this podcast. And on that note, welcome to the Fika Brunch and Business Podcast. This is a little bit of a different one for you today. As you'll notice, Tia is not currently with me, but she will be doing a similar episode. She is currently enjoying herself in Greece, as she should. She works hard, she deserves it. So what we've got in store for you today, as some of you may know, some of the more hardcore fans, I recently turned 28. 28 turns out it's a particularly good age for reflection, and I've got in this little booklet here that my friend Florinel has politely let me use. I've got 5 lessons to my younger self. The drink of choice today is this whiskey cold brew that I made about 3 hours ago, but it's a good choice for tonight. I like it. Life's about balance, and you get the effects of the whiskey, the effects of the cold brew. That's what balance is. Right, let's start off with lesson number 1 to younger Ivo. Let's see what we've got written down here. Lesson number 1, you can't save yourself rich. Younger Ivo, I know you very well. You're very focused on money, as you should be. It's an important thing in life. You're very good at saving money. Ever since you've been young, every penny you've been given, you've saved. And that is a good mentality to have. You need to, if you do want to do something different in life, other than your standard just get a job, get a mortgage, etc., then you are going to have to save some money to make something happen. But what you need to know is that you can't save yourself rich. I just want to talk about the FIRE movement, which is something that you're going to come across. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Very interesting. There's a group of people that decided, right, why are we going to work until we're 65 in a job we might not like when we might be able to retire earlier? So what these people do is they save as much money as they possibly can, working normal jobs like being a teacher, engineer, fire technician, whatever job it may be. These people save as much as possible of their income and they invest it. And they try and grow their investment portfolio to a point where they can retire at the age of 45, 40, 35, depends how good they are at it. Younger Evo, you're going to be very influenced by this movement called FIRE. And you're, at one point in your life, you're going to gear your life towards achieving FIRE. But what you don't know yet is that you're not the type of person that's going to enjoy a retirement. And you'll get, especially an early retirement, and you'll realize that when you experience the few periods in your life where you're going to have nothing going on, you're going to have nothing to do, and they'll be the least enjoyable times of your life. I promise you that. You're going to feel most fulfilled when you have something to do. So you should not be focused on retiring early. Instead, you should shift your mindset to finding something that you would enjoy doing for the rest of your life and trying to do more and more of that. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, advice to my younger self. Get in excellent shape early on. Younger Evo, you already know this. But you're gonna go about it in the wrong way, and you're gonna make some mistakes. I'll tell you the mistakes you're gonna make. You probably won't listen to me because that's what you're usually like. You're still like that. But I'm going to tell you anyway. You've heard of the term weekend warrior. So one day you're going to decide that you're not in the best shape, that you want to get in better shape, and you're going to decide to work out 17 times a week, do things that you've never done before, and you're going to injure yourself. I'm telling you now, this is what's going to happen. You're going to injure yourself in a way that puts you out of the game for a long time. What you should do instead is you should realize that that what you can achieve in a 10-year period is gonna be sorry, let me try that one again. You overestimate what you'll be able to achieve in a 3-month period, but you underestimate what you'll be able to achieve in a 10-year period. You should shift your mindset to starting to think in longer time frames, and you should take it slower, especially when it comes to getting in shape. You should start early, but you should take it slow. And I'm telling you this now at 28. At 28, you're playing catch up. You knew this was important from the start, and you know it's important now. But you should take it slower. That was lesson number 2. Get in shape early on. Lesson number 3. Respect is greater than happiness. Now, there will be a time in your life, younger Ivo, when you start to question why it is you do what you do and what the purpose in everything is. You're going to wrongfully conclude that the purpose of it all is to be happy. The reason why I say that's wrong is because let me throw you back to a time when you were in middle school. Do you remember you wrote a project about Nelson Mandela and the life of Nelson Mandela? Do you remember that he spent 17 years in prison? You do remember that. Let me ask you this. Do you think he was happy that whole time, that 17 years that he spent in prison? He probably wasn't. He probably wasn't happy. But nonetheless, you admired him. And this is what I'm trying to say with respect is greater than happiness. There are the people that you come to admire and respect in life are people that have not necessarily lived the happiest lives. In fact, they're respected because they've gone through a certain level of hardship. So I think respect is greater than happiness. You should choose the hard path. Lesson number 4. Take a step back from academics and lean into entrepreneurship. Whatever time you're listening to this, younger Ivo, whether it's in your school years, most likely during your school years, school is probably going to be just about the only thing that you're good at. That's for the moment. You also think it's really important. Most of your life so far has been about getting good grades, but later on in life you're going to realize that there's more to it. Later on you're going to realize that the level of success you achieve in life is based on how you interact with the world. So when I say entrepreneurship, I use that term very loosely. I think what I'm really trying to say is that you should lean into trying new things, experimenting, get a few different jobs, try a few different hobbies. That's what I mean by entrepreneurship. You should lean into that, and you should find ways to interact with the world more and more. In summary, get your nose out of those books and go out and interact with the world. The 5th and final lesson is you don't know everything, even though you think you do. And sometimes even at the age of 28, you still think you know everything, but you don't. Now, this is one that I almost don't want to prepare you for because it's such a valuable lesson that you're going to learn. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it anyway. So you're going to go through a couple of breakups. And we're not going to go into a whole load of detail. But before you have that experience, you're going to think that you have the whole world figured out. And let me tell you, you're going to realize that you don't. That's fine. Don't panic. Don't do anything that will make you lose respect for yourself. Go through the process. You're going to come out of the other side stronger, wiser, but most importantly, humbler. And you're going to realize that you don't know everything. I hope you listen to those lessons, younger Ivo. And if you don't, that's fine. You'll still end up at 10:10 on a Sunday evening recording a podcast, drinking a whiskey cold brew. Life could be worse. Cheers.
Good morning and welcome to part 2 of this week's slightly unconventional Brunch Business podcast. I am your other host, Tia. I'm hoping you can hear me. I am sat, I'm on holiday at the moment, I'm sat in a cafe, and it is a little bit windy and I'm right next to the sea, so hopefully you can hear these very important life lessons I'm about to give my younger self. Let's get straight in. So my first life lesson to my younger self, mine is a little bit less official than Ivo, a little bit less godfathery. I've not got my whiskey, I've not got my armchair, and I've not got my light above me, but I have got a lovely coffee. So let's get straight in. My first life lesson and a piece of advice, my first piece of advice to my younger self would be stop hating on yourself and stop being ashamed of who you are. I think this is a very female thing, and I think when we're younger, especially in our teenage years, we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves and being ashamed of who we are and wishing we were someone else. And the biggest piece of advice I can give to my younger self and to all young female teenagers and in any age, to be honest, is accept who you are, be loving of who you are, work on changing the things you don't like about yourself that are changeable. For example, your habits and how you show up in the world. There's nothing wrong with that, but the core of who you are, accept, appreciate, respect in the same way that you would want other people to, because I think that's extremely important, and you can't expect other people to respect you and to treat you in a way if you won't do it for yourself. That is life lesson number 1. Life lesson number 2, and a piece of advice to my younger self, would be kind to your parents. This sounds like a bit of a rogue one, and it's not necessarily focused on me or my younger self, but I think it's a very big life lesson for, again, young people that we often learn a little bit too late. Your parents do what they do for a reason, and they are the way they are for a reason, and in many cases, not in all, but in many cases, they have sacrificed a lot, and they have made a lot of adjustments to their lives to give us as their kids opportunities and open doors for us that don't always get appreciated. And I think a parent's job is probably one of the most underappreciated jobs in the world. It's not paid, you don't get thanked every day for it. So be kind to your parents and appreciate why they're doing the things that they do. Try and put yourself in their shoes and try and respect them. And you're not always going to see eye to eye, and that's fine, and that's part of accepting your relationship with them. But try and put yourself in their shoes and try and think what you would do in their scenario, and think of all the sacrifices that they've had to make your life possible the way that it is. Life lesson number 3, or piece of advice to my younger self, would be get your health in order. This is quite similar to one that Ivo said, but I completely agree. I can't stress this enough. In all aspects, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, if that's important to you, but get your health in order. I think when we're younger, we think we have all the time in the world and we're kind of invincible, and then you start to get, I'm only 25, so I'm still very young, I'm aware, but you start to get to your mid-20s and notice things in your body, in your mind, that kind of come up that weren't there before. And I really personally, I wouldn't say I regret it, because I am where I am now, and I'm doing things differently, but I did think I exercised for about 3 years, and I look back and really wish I had, and wish I had realised the importance of it in the same way that I do now. And in the same token, your mental health is so important, and just like with physical exercise, it's not something that is just fine if you ignore it. It needs constant work, and you need to constantly sharpen your mind, look after your mind, look after your body. You've only got one body, you've only got one life. It's got to serve you for a long time, so put good stuff in it, put good thoughts in your mind. Don't fuel yourself with negativity and with shit food that isn't really food, and get out in the sunshine. I think getting out in the sunshine and looking after your health in that more holistic way is probably one of the best things you can do as well. It's a very natural human thing. Little cameo someone there. Yeah, look after your health is really important. Do it. My fourth piece of advice to my younger self would be, don't get fully caught up in just working all the time. Again, something I don't regret because it's got me to where I am now, and I have a really good work ethic, and I think it is important to build that and build it at a young age. And I wouldn't say I wish I'd spent my, when I was 20 or 21 pissing around, but I did sacrifice a lot of social time, and in turn sacrificed some friendships. Again, I don't regret it because you make everything through choice, but not everything is about work. Not everything is about your career. Life is also meant to be enjoyed. I'm still struggling to learn this lesson now, so this is also a lesson to my current self. It's very easy to get caught up in the to-do list and in getting everything done and in being a good boss and a good leader and in making sure that everything in your business is going well and as well as it can be, and you're involved in everything, but you can't work all the time, and you can't feel guilty for not working all the time, and life is also there to be enjoyed, and you don't want to get to your 80s and think, okay, great, I just worked all the time, I've got this really great work ethic, but I have no memories and no friendships and no experiences, and I didn't actually really enjoy my life because I just spent the whole time working. So I think that's extremely important. Don't work all the time. Enjoy your life. Life is also for living. And my fifth and final piece of advice to my younger self is open your mind up, be willing to learn new things, new opinions, open your mind up to different cultures, read more, listen to more podcasts. I guess not necessarily when you're younger. I'm not sure if these are advice to my younger self or my current self. I think a bit of both. But open your mind up and be willing to learn more about the world around you. Again, this is not too dissimilar from one of Ivo's, but your opinions aren't always right. I mean, they're an opinion, so they can't really be right or wrong, but your opinions can change and your views on things can change, but be open to that. Be open to having your opinions change. Be open to having your views change, and be open to absorbing new information and listening to other people's opinions and reading, and be open to the world basically, and all the opinions out there and all the views out there, and some you'll accept and agree with and some you really won't, and that's fine. But I think it's a very healthy thing to expand the mind and to know of a lot of opinions out there and a lot of views out there, whether you agree with them or not. It makes you think a lot more deeply about the world, and I think it makes you a lot more of a compassionate person in being able to interact with other people and see other people's viewpoint. So that is five pieces of advice to my younger self from holiday. We will be back next week with a slightly more conventional episode, although we will be in a new space hopefully. Thank you for tuning in. I am now going to go and enjoy the rest of my holiday, because it's not all about work, people, it's also about enjoying life. Peace out.